everybody, welcome back. In this episode, we're going to be discussing a paper that looks at the outcomes of optometrists performing laser capsulotomies. I'm Dr. Mika, and our guest expert for this episode is Dr. Nate Lighthizer, who's an associate dean at NSU College of Optometry in Tahlequah, Oklahoma. Welcome, Nate.
Hey, Mika. Wow, it's glad to be here, Mika. Really looking forward to this.
So this article that we're talking about is about YAG laser capsulotomy, efficacy and outcomes performed by optometrists by our own Dr. Lighthizer and his colleagues, which was published in the Academy's Journal of Optometry and Vision Science. So, Nate, why did you decide to conduct this study?
Yeah, so, we've been doing lasers for a long time here in Oklahoma. Kentucky joined the party in 2011, Louisiana. Now there's currently 10 or 11 states that optometry has laser privileges, but there's always a battle when optometry is attempting to modernize their practice, increase the access to high quality patient care. We felt to say, hey, we've been doing lasers for a long time, but there's really never been an official published study of saying, here's the data in published format. We know clinically in the trenches what's been going on for 20 plus years, that patients are having just really good outcomes, very safe, very effective procedures. But it was time to put it in a published study. And I will tell you, one of the other motivations is there was a study published about 6 or 7 years ago by Ophthalmology that looked at, it said efficacy and outcomes of SLT, of ODs versus MDs in Oklahoma. And it actually didn't look at outcomes. It just looked at the billing data, how often the code was billed. Wow. And the code was being billed more for optometry than ophthalmology. And therefore they concluded, well, you're repeating it more, you're doing it more, so you must not be as good at it. Well, I think that's a stretch when you're only looking at the CPT code. You're only looking at the billing code. The explanation was we were doing 180 degrees and they were doing 360 degrees. Well, if you do 360 today and I do 180 today and 180 6 months from now, I build it twice and you build it once. And if you only look at the billing code, it looks like optometry was doing it more than ophthalmology. So we said, you know what, let's take a study and let's actually look at the outcomes. Let's look at the visual acuity in YAG caps and side effects. So that was really the gist of saying, let's actually publish a study of our own of the efficacy and outcomes of OD performed YAG capsulotomy.
Excellent. So tell me a little bit about how you designed the study. What was the protocol?
Yeah, we wanted it to be a multi-center study. We had 3 sites in Oklahoma, 3 sites in Louisiana. We selected patients that were, generally speaking, 20/40 or worse, best corrected. However, they could have reduced vision from glare as well. The average pre-laser acuity was 20/40. We had 91 eyeballs across the 6 sites. We started this study right before COVID, what COVID did any research project. So it took a little bit longer. There's a little bit more challenge there. But we included patients that were 20/40 or worse, best corrected. Glare could worse than that. We excluded people that had retinal disease or other things, the typical stuff that you would exclude. And we measured visual acuity, we measured inflammation, we measured IOP, we measured macular thickness, just looking for any potential complications like CME, inflammation, IOP spike, lens pits, things like that. So that's who we included, and that is some of what we excluded as well.
That makes perfect sense. So what did you find?
Yeah, so we found, again, across 79 patients, which was 91 eyes across 6 centers, pre-op visual acuity was 20/40 on average. That improved to 20/23. So basically, 20/40 to 20/20 minus or 20/25 plus, which is a very typical outcome for these patients with really minimal to no side effects. There was no retinal detachments, no permanent vision loss. There was about 4 IOP spikes that were managed easily with medications, no visually significant lens pits. And what was most exciting to me, most fun, was we asked patients at the end of the study, tell us about your vision. Has it improved? Is it the same? Is it worse? And 99% of patients, every subject in the study except one, said their vision was better than before. So patients at a 99% level said subjectively they were better. The one that didn't was objectively better. His vision got better. He just didn't say subjectively that it was. Flip it to look at objective vision. 95% of patients objectively improved on the Snellen chart, meaning they went from 2030 to 2020 or 2040 to 2025. 95% objectively got better. The 5% that didn't, they all subjectively got better. So there you go.
Beautiful. So when I was reading the study, I thought your discussion on other studies looking at the training of ophthalmologists was pretty interesting. Can you tell our listeners a little bit about that?
Yeah, so that, this is one study at one snapshot in time or one point in time for these 6 locations. We said, let's compare our data to all the other data out there. So we dug into the research. I tasked a couple of my students and residents along with myself and said, let's look at the literature over the course of the last 10 to 15 years and look at every published YAG cap study out there, obviously all from ophthalmology, and let's compare it in terms of N numbers. How many subjects were in the study? What was the pre-op acuity? What was the post-op acuity? What was the number of, or the amount of energy applied? And of the 19 ophthalmology studies that we found, ours was then listed at the bottom as the 20th. So of the 20 studies, we had the 5th highest N number. So it's not like all these other studies looked at 500 patients and we looked at 91. We had the 5th highest N number. Our pre-op acuity and post-op acuity were very comparable, if not even better than a lot of the studies. And the average amount of energy used of the 20 studies, there was 11 that listed how much energy was used for the capsulotomy. 5 ophthalmology studies used more energy, 5 ophthalmology studies used less energy, and we were right in the middle. So we were dead smack right in the middle for amount of energy used, meaning we are compared and we are very comparable to the published literature.
Beautiful. Well, I guess my last question for you is, I know you've been doing this procedure quite a lot being in Oklahoma. I'm in California, so I don't have experience doing this. What can you just tell me about your own experience in doing this procedure?
Yeah, YAG capsulotomy is a very rewarding procedure. I mean, we've all had that. Mika, you've had that patient that you sent for cataract surgery, and your surgeon did the cataract surgery, and they came back going, Mika, I didn't know how much it was. My vision was down, colors look better. And the same thing happens with us doing the procedure now with YAG capsulotomy. It is so rewarding to have patients say, I haven't seen this well since right after cataract surgery. My vision had gone down, glare had bothered me. It's a very rewarding procedure. It is a procedure that, in my opinion, all optometrists are capable of doing this if they so desire to do that. They possess the skills to do that. So I would encourage all optometrists that are listening that consider that, think of that, and move forward with modernizing your scope.
Let's end there. Thank you so much for lending us your expertise today, Dr. Lighthizer, Dr. Nate.
Yes, thank you so much. I appreciate the time and I hope you enjoyed it.